At the beginning of the film, a young man named Ian appears, possessing a supernatural ability that enables him to control others' minds, creating illusions that make people see things that aren't there. It becomes clear that Vincent, Ian's father, exploits his son's abilities to carry out store thefts. Today, the two decide to target a new supermarket, with Ian standing at a distance to manipulate the store owner and render her unable to see Vincent during the heist. Vincent sneaks into the supermarket, concealing bottles of alcohol in his coat, then purchases a small item to justify his presence. As he prepares to leave, a group of girls passes by Ian, distracting him and causing him to lose concentration, which disrupts his control over the store owner's mind. She notices the empty alcohol shelf and realizes immediately that she's been robbed, rushing to pursue Vincent. In a tense moment, Ian makes the woman believe he has a gun and that he's firing at her, causing her to drop to the ground in terror. Ian and Vincent then flee quickly from the scene. The police arrive soon after to check on the woman, who, bewildered but unharmed, explains that she was robbed. A police patrol begins chasing Ian and Vincent, but Ian manages to take control of one of the officers' minds, leading him to pursue an entirely different vehicle, allowing Ian and Vincent to escape. At that moment, the police officer feels confused as he chases a different car, continuing the pursuit without realizing it's the wrong vehicle. Here, we discover that Ian has long dreamed of pulling off a bigger heist, frequently suggesting to his father that they target a bank. However, Vincent is firmly against the idea, explaining that such an action would draw too much attention, potentially attracting secret organizations that might experiment on Ian. While the officer is still behind them, Ian creates an illusion of a violent storm that flips the car. In reality, the car remains unharmed, allowing Ian and his father Vincent to make their escape. In another scene, a character named Adriana appears, who has been closely observing the events and expresses satisfaction at finally locating Ian. The next day, we see Vincent and his son, Ian, living on an abandoned boat. That night, Ian dreams of his mother singing to him when he was a young child, but suddenly, she starts screaming, waking Ian in a fright. It becomes clear that this nightmare is a recurring one. On this day, Vincent celebrates Ian's 18th birthday, gifting him a photo of his mother, explaining that it was taken on the day they first discovered Ian's supernatural abilities. Vincent's intense fear for his son's safety is evident, as he strictly forbids him from leaving. Ian asks to go out to celebrate his birthday, but Vincent refuses, leading Ian to storm back to his room in frustration. After a long period of contemplation, Ian decides to leave through the window. In the middle of the night, a group of Adriana's men storm the boat, pointing their weapons at Vincent. Vincent starts talking to Adriana, revealing that they've known each other for a long time. Adriana asks him about Ian's whereabouts, informing him of her plan to take Ian to the agency, as all other perceptors have been killed, with only one still alive, though he's close to being eliminated. Nevertheless, Vincent refuses to cooperate or disclose Ian's location. Subsequently, Adriana's men locate Ian, strike Vincent on the head, and take him hostage. Meanwhile, Ian, who has decided to spend his birthday at an amusement park, encounters a mysterious figure who turns out to be the last remaining perceptor. Adriana's men arrive and, upon spotting the perceptor, attempt to kill him. However, the perceptor outsmarts them, using his ability to create visual illusions, making them believe he is leaving while actually standing right behind them. Ian witnesses the scene, and the perceptor tries to take him along, but suddenly, Adriana's men appear and place a mask on the perceptor's face. This mask is specifically designed to disable any perceptor's abilities. They then capture the perceptor. At the same time, two agency agents take Ian to a waiting car where Adriana is seated. She tells him that perceptors and those like them are tools the agency wishes to exploit, offering him protection if he joins them. Ian, still uncertain about what is happening, decides to join them upon learning that his father Vincent has been taken hostage. They put the same mask on Ian and take a blood sample from him. At this point, the perceptor appears in the middle of the road, having managed to escape from Adriana's men. He creates an illusion of a massive car accident, forcing the vehicle transporting Ian to stop. However, with her experience, Adriana realizes the scene is merely an illusion and orders the driver to continue to the agency headquarters. When they arrive at the agency, Adriana begins explaining things to Ian, revealing a group of people known as perceptors who possess supernatural abilities like his and use them to manipulate leaders around the world to achieve global control. Adriana clarifies that the agency's mission is to eliminate the perceptors and restore democracy to the world. She adds that the other perceptor sought out Ian to convince him to join him, and if he refused, he might be killed. Fortunately, the agency reached reached Ian first. Adriana urges Ian to join the agency, stating that their goal is to extract a formula from his body that would allow them to control his supernatural power. Adriana begins by questioning Ian about the extent of his abilities, specifically wanting to know how long he can sustain a visual illusion. Ian refuses to answer until he sees Vincent and ensures his safety. Adriana promises he can see him once he fulfills her request and asks him to make her believe she's sitting on a beach. Ian complies with this request but refuses to do anything further, insisting on meeting Vincent. Due to his persistence, Adriana reluctantly agrees to take him to Vincent. Seizing the opportunity, Ian asks Vincent about their connection, revealing his hidden ability to see people's memories upon touching them. When he touches Vincent, he sees an old memory showing that Vincent once worked for the agency and actually abducted Ian from his mother. Here, Ian learns the truth. Vincent is not his real father, shocking him and destroying his trust in Vincent. After this encounter, we see Adriana meeting with her superior, holding the results of Ian's tests, which confirmed that he lacks any trace of the chemical compound that was believed to grant supernatural abilities, surprising her superior as they question the origin of Ian's powers. Adriana deduces the truth. Ian is the natural son of two preceptors who possessed special abilities, and he inherited his power genetically, rather than from the chemical compound implanted in others. But her superior remains skeptical, reminding her that Kaminsky, the inventor of the compound, had ensured that all preceptors with the implant were sterile, making it impossible for Ian to have been born to two preceptor parents. The superior insists that Ian holds no value to the agency and must be eliminated. However, Adriana objects, believing that Ian might be capable of activating a third hidden ability, revealing that only one other individual has reached this stage, known as the hybrid. For this reason, she wants to control Ian before he reaches that stage. Meanwhile, a character named Esther enters Ian's room, showing compassion toward him and aware that the agency intends to treat him as a lab rat. She decides to help him escape, demonstrating her impressive martial arts skills as she easily overpowers a large number of Adriana's men. Before fleeing, Ian asks Esther to take Vincent with them, as he's the only one who knows everything about his past. With Esther's help, Ian successfully steals a car, escaping alongside Esther and Vincent. Meanwhile, the preceptor manages to infiltrate the agency's headquarters, using a visual illusion to disguise himself as a doctor. Armed with a gun, he kills most of the staff present, although Adriana is absent at the time. As Ian and his companions are on the road, they experience a crash, but fortunately, they emerge unscathed. The three decide to stop and stay at a hotel, where they leave Vincent sleeping while Ian and Esther sit down to talk. Esther reveals to Ian that she works with the preceptors but does not possess any supernatural abilities like they do. The two go up to the rooftop to enjoy the view, and upon their return they find Vincent unconscious after drinking a large amount of alcohol. Ian, eager for answers, decides to touch Vincent to see his memories. He witnesses an old memory of Vincent and Adriana, in which Adriana asks him to locate a preceptor named Zola and gives him her address. When Vincent awakens, Ian decides to fulfill his old dream of using his illusions to rob a bank. He goes to the bank and hands the teller a blank piece of paper, making her believe it is a check for 5,000 euros. He takes the cash and leaves before the illusion is discovered. Upon returning to the hotel, Esther heads to the bathroom while Ian glances out the window and notices that the preceptor has tracked them down. Ian attempts to deceive him, casting an illusion that the room is entirely empty, but the preceptor, highly experienced in visual illusions, uses a mirror to see Ian hiding along the side of the room, as illusions don't reflect in mirrors, revealing Ian's presence. Ian, frightened of the preceptor, tries to attack him, but the preceptor proves to be stronger and gains control over him. Reassuring Ian that he doesn't intend to harm him, the preceptor explains that he has already eliminated most of the agency's operatives to protect him. He then invades Ian's memory, uncovering the address he saw in Vincent's memories, and leaves Ian unconscious before departing. During this time, Esther has been silently observing the events from the bathroom without intervening. Shortly afterward, Vincent returns, shocked to find Ian in such a state. He frees Ian, but Ian refuses to forgive him for the years of lies. He then decides to leave, leaving Vincent behind. Ian takes Esther with him and heads to the address he saw in Vincent's memory, which turns out to be the agency's former headquarters. When Ian and Esther arrive at the old agency headquarters, they start searching for anything that might be helpful. Ian enters a specific room and realizes it's the same room he's dreamt of being in with his mother. Esther expresses doubt, asserting that a one-year-old child couldn't retain memories, suggesting that what he sees is just a dream. Ian, however, dismisses her skepticism, confident that the memories are real. real. He also notices that the room in his memory was larger than the one he sees now, leading him to realize there must be a hidden space behind the wall, confirming his memories of his mother. Inside the hidden space, they discover journals belonging to Zola, Ian's mother, identified through photographs included in the journals. They also uncover information about a man named Kaminsky, Zola's father and thus Ian's grandfather, who was the original creator of the compound. Meanwhile, Vincent returns to the boat to find Adriana waiting for him. Adriana urges him to join forces with her to escape the threat posed by the Preceptor, as Ian is their only hope of confronting the hybrid. Ian realizes that Esther has been communicating with the Preceptor and informed him of their location. When he confronts her, asking why, Esther explains that she wants to help him. Ian, frightened by the Preceptor, uses his illusion to create several copies of himself to confuse him, but the Preceptor identifies the real Ian. He reassures Ian, stating he has no intention of harming him, proving it by explaining that he has had many opportunities to kill him but never did. The Preceptor reveals his true identity, telling Ian that he is his real father. He begins recounting the past, explaining that Kaminsky invented the compound after World War II and sought volunteers for experiments. Both he and Zola volunteered and were injected with the compound, which after some time granted them supernatural abilities. Kaminsky's goal was to prepare preceptors for that era of political tension in anticipation of the Cold War. But after the war, Adriana and her allies grew fearful that preceptors might use their powers to dominate the world, leading them to decide to eliminate them. They succeeded in killing many preceptors until they discovered that one of them had developed a third ability, enabling him to control others' minds to the extent of making them act against their will, even to the point of self-harm. This preceptor, dubbed the Hybrid, used this power to kill a significant number of agency operatives, making him a formidable threat and earning him his title as the Hybrid. The preceptor recounts that he had been married to Zola for a long time, and one day they discovered she was pregnant, a shock since preceptors had undergone treatments to prevent reproduction, and no one knew how it was possible. Thus, Ian became the only one naturally born with supernatural abilities. At that moment, agency members arrived, and the preceptor did everything he could to protect Ian, giving him an address in Madrid and asking him to wait there. He used his illusions to kill many enemies, with Esther assisting him by also taking down several agents before she and Ian escaped via the emergency stairway. Meanwhile, agency agents managed to capture the preceptor, forcing him to wear a mask that suppresses his abilities. They attempt to extract the compound from his body but find that it has faded over time. Later, the preceptor asks for water, compelling them to open a small slot in the mask, which enables him to regain his supernatural powers. Here, a surprising revelation occurs. The preceptor himself is the Hybrid, who possesses the third ability, and he controls the staff around him, forcing them to release him and kill themselves. When Ian and Esther arrive at the address in Madrid, they find that the house belongs to the preceptor, and to their astonishment, Zola, Ian's mother, is still alive but in a state of shock and unconsciousness. The preceptor tells Ian that the agency caused her current condition to experiment on her, assuring him that his memories of his mother are real. Zola had embedded these memories in his mind to remain in his consciousness forever. She had realized that the agency would be unable to create new preceptors without the compound, so she sabotaged her father Kaminsky's research and encrypted the formula within Ian's body, making it invisible to anyone but him. Ian enters his mother's memories, where he sees the encrypted formula, invisible even to the preceptor. The preceptor, eager to take revenge on the agency, urges Ian to reveal the formula so they can create new preceptors. Ian refuses, and the preceptor tries to forcefully invade his memories, which gradually weakens Zola until she passes away. At this moment, agency operatives arrive, and Ian, filled with anger and a desire for revenge over what they did to his mother, uses his abilities to compel a group of agency agents to kill each other. He is on the verge of wiping out the rest in the same way when Adriana intervenes, telling him that it was the preceptor who had kidnapped Zola years ago and might be responsible for what happened to her. At this moment, Vincent arrives and tries to wake Ian, attempting to convince him that the preceptor is deceiving him for his own gain, but Ian refuses to believe it, which unsettles the preceptor. Growing fearful, the preceptor pulls out a gun, using his ability to manipulate Vincent into holding the weapon and forcing himself to pull the trigger. Ian is thrown into shock and rushes to Vincent as the preceptor escapes, taking Esther with him. Before Vincent dies, he urges Ian to enter his memories one last time to reveal the truth, knowing it will cost him his life. In this memory, Ian sees that his mother, Zola, had asked Vincent to take Ian away from the preceptor to protect him, having discovered the preceptor's intentions to exploit Ian and conduct experiments on him to replicate replicate the compound and create new perceptors. Ian realizes that Vincent sacrificed his entire life to raise and protect him. Ian returns to the present to find that Vincent has passed away. Ian sets off to confront the Perceptor, who is holding Esther hostage and threatening to kill her. He realizes he has developed feelings for her, but Adriana arrives suddenly, attempting to awaken Ian to the truth. She tells him that Esther never existed at all and is merely an illusion the Perceptor created to control him. Believing Adriana, Ian shoots the Perceptor, who dies instantly. The following day, Ian goes to bury Vincent and his mother, Zola, with Adriana accompanying him. She tells him that they urgently need the formula, as countless lives depend on it. Ian replies that he's not ready to join the agency yet, as he wants to enjoy the rest of his teenage years, so he takes her number to stay in touch if he changes his mind. As Ian returns to his car, he's startled to still see Esther beside him. At the same time, he overhears Adriana speaking with her superior, who threatens that if Ian refuses to join them, they will eliminate him. But Ian notices that the superior does not appear in the mirror, revealing that he, like Esther, is an illusion created by the Perceptor. It becomes clear that the Perceptor's illusionary powers endure long after his death, leaving lasting imprints in the minds of those he manipulated, hinting that his influence may persist indefinitely, haunting those affected by his abilities. Make sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.